Hello, welcome to the Everton Club Call. It is Wednesday, the 14th of June. It's 5 o'clock. And, it is absolutely roasting. That's what I would say. There is still no announcement. The 48 hours is up.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of people were waiting for the 5 o'clock hit. It might be 5:10. 5:15. It might not happen at all. We never know. You never can tell. With Everton, there's never a dull moment. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But so far, nothing has happened, John.
Oh, something in my ear just then.
Yeah. And that was Ned messing around, as always.
Yeah.
With the
no,
the thing.
I mean, yeah. Put your hands up if you're surprised. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, but I mean, you're absolutely right. Like with Everton, sometimes it is a case of, am I surprised and all that? But they put the deadline in place themselves. No one else needed to put a deadline in, did it?
Despite what you could say is a soft promise within 48 hours, most Evertonians, I suppose, are not surprised that the 48 hours have been and gone and we still haven't heard anything. No.
Mm-hmm. Interested. We'll see.
All national media have been getting ready for this all day and nothing.
I know. It still could happen
Could be
at
the
half
internet.
5. Could be
There.
anything. Yeah,
They've
it's so hot that it hasn't come through.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'll be taking callers as well very soon. But we'll be keeping an eye on everything over the next hour and a half or so. And if anything breaks, we will have it here for you. Darren Cooper says, have you seen the photo of potential first game of the season? Brentford at home. These come out every year.
It's the practice
and it's
run.
never ever.
So
it's
is
not
the practice
real.
run that gets leaked.
That will be a tricky game, or be winnable. Of course, it would. In fact, we beat them this year, even when we were terrible. So there you go. I think the other thing as well is we will definitely be at home because Liverpool have requested to be away because of their stands. So whoever it is, we need to get off to a good start. You obviously don't want Man City or someone like that, do you? You just don't. Even though you go, well, you know what, might be a good time to play them or not. You don't want them. You want a team kind of middle to lower end, because even though that brings an expectation and a pressure, it also gives you, if you get it right, a great opportunity
to avoid the promoted
start.
Teams.
You know what? It shouldn't be, should it?
No,
but it always is.
It always is.
Yeah. We always are. In fact, Sheffield United at home or something, or Luton Town at home, or Burnley with Vincent.
Of course, being at home first game means your first 3 are away.
Unless they get the other. Liverpool, might want the first 2.
So we can't stockpile home games just to be convenient.
It's happened in the past, though.
Yeah.
It's happened in the past. Hey, might be on the other shoe, might be on the other foot next year, John Blaine.
Yeah,
you never know. You never know.
I'm not going to do that. Someone who's watching will tell us it's out. Yeah.
Ned's keeping an eye on it for us,
Otherwise
and other people. And
Let's talk about football.
Steve Kelly will do the same as well. There's a thing in the WhatsApp there, Ned. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. Georgia says, where's the Arteta money bill turning into, where's the resignation bill? We'll see. Toffee plays as well, lads. Hope you're both well. Yeah, we're roasting. Charles B says, how are we, lads? All good. It's just very warm.
It's warmer in here today than it was yesterday.
It is.
I don't know if the day's warmer. Is the day warmer?
Firefly says, hi, fellas. Have you watched the All or Nothing podcast with Michael Branch? No, not seen it.
25.
Not seen it. He was due to come in here a while ago, Michael, and it didn't happen. So maybe we'll have one and out. You've had your chance, you've missed it. But in all seriousness, we probably will get him in at some stage for a chat. So if anything breaks and we don't see it, feel free to put it in our comments so we catch up with that. And Ned is keeping his eye right the way across the socials, trying to tap in. You're going to be like that fella off Sky Sports used to be, the agent who used to have all the phones. Oh, sorry, it's just a call off Harry Redknapp and all this. Yeah, about 7 phones with deals. Ned's trying to get in touch with Bill as we speak, or Farhad. He just wants an answer off one of them, one of the two.
Typical of Ned, though. He missed the call.
Oh, he missed the call, yeah.
Before.
seen a very funny tweet that
Okay.
said Everton's promised 48-hour update on Bill Kenwright's future, staying very much on brand, it seems.
There you go. There you go.
Wouldn't say
Communication.
very funny, Ned.
Communication isn't the football club's strong suit, is it? But mad. Statement. This is breaking news. Statements from the Premier League. Everton didn't know. Statement from the Premier League confirms a ban on fully leveraged buyouts. This would have stopped the Glazers buying Manchester United the way they did in 2005. I'll read the statement,
That must
John.
have come out of
You can tell me.
yesterday's.
Right, here we go. As today's Premier League annual general meeting, it was confirmed that the average attendance for the clubs also discussed a number of topics, including strategy, football matters, policy, governance, regulation, broadcasting, commercial, and finance. Howard Webb from the PGMOL, Chief Refereeing Officer, also presented to the clubs on refereeing principles ahead of the new season. As part of the league's ongoing review of the owners and directors test, clubs unanimously agreed to amend the test to prohibit fully leveraged buyouts. John Blaine, very quickly, explain what that means. A fully leveraged buyout. What does it mean?
Simply.
Simply for me.
Yeah.
Other people, I'm sure, understand it.
Well,
Simplified for me.
All things to all men. You know, you'd have
Yeah.
the devil's in the detail type stuff. But you mentioned the Glazers, so use that as an example. Yeah. Simply put, the Glazers borrowed money to buy Manchester United,
Right.
and the collateral they used for borrowing that money was
Yeah.
Man United.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Which is mad, isn't
Which
it?
is mad.
Yeah.
And therefore, ultimately, Man United have ended up predominantly paying the loan back. Yeah.
Okay. So the clubs have said
Yeah.
no more with that.
That's right.
Right,
Yeah.
so interesting.
Because that's not
Interesting.
fair, is it?
No.
It's
No.
it's not. There's nothing wrong with it as a business.
As a business practice, but
no.
that's the Premier League aren't having it. Fair enough.
It'd be interesting to see if any of our stuff is going to be like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Gary Waters, howdy. Steve P says, Baz, the Mexican left-back Gerardo Arteaga from Genk is about to be a free agent. He's 24. Another one we should be all over. Higher market value than Aaron Martin. Been good for them and looked really good for Mexico at the World Cup. Remember watching? He was up and down non-stop. Weren't we linked with him as well? He was the one we were linked with, weren't we, in the World Cup? Gerardo, the left-back. It was. I think at the time he was saying he would have been out of contract, wouldn't he then, if he's coming up to be a free? I'm sure he was saying like 10 million, and then you're thinking, well, 10 million for a left-back, because Michalenko obviously at the club for less than a year at that stage, was he? Or was it coming? Yeah, less than a year at that stage. 10 million, we're going, do we need? But now he's a free agent, because we definitely need a left-back, don't we?
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
Is that all the PL said?
It's the only bit. It's the only bit
Because
that I've
buying a
got.
football club, which without you putting much skin in the game, is probably the right way to do it. Isn't
Absolutely, yeah.
That's funny,
Absolutely. Brad Hancock, Baz's son.
it? Ah,
We'll see him at the Premier Night. We'll have an announcement on that tomorrow. The date confirmed for you Premier members for our end of season get together. Brad says, how much do you realistically think we'll have to spend? We will have to spend without selling. And why, in the past 3 seasons, have we been in so much financial problems? Surely we should be in a better position now after selling players, and a fair chunk of the big earners have gone. I've seen this a few times from people saying it seems like the last few seasons we just haven't had any money to spend, but we have also sold players, and yet we've still got no money to spend. And why is that, John?
cash is king, and it costs quite a lot of money to run a football club. And so what we've got is regulation to comply with, which is simplistically, profit sustainability type thing, which you might say is an accounting number, but fundamentally the football club's been living beyond its means for quite a long time, and that's not all to do with buying and selling of players. Cost creeps happened.
Wages.
Wages on field, off field,
Headcount.
the whole 9 yards, right? And cash is your ability to pay your debts, isn't it? And Farhad Mashiri has been providing the cash flow, right?
Mm-hmm.
To pay bills. Some of those bills clearly are for the new stadium as well.
Yeah.
And when Farhad stopped paying, we had to get it from somewhere else. Yeah. And that's
Okay,
where you
yeah.
get the Andy Bell thing, Blythe and what have you.
Yeah.
Just to tide you over. So the business needs to be recapitalised in the sense of it needs... It's a bit like... it might not be a good analogy, this, but let's use it, right? You take a payday loan to pay off a debt that you've got.
Yeah.
But actually, you never ever catch up. And in some respects, your debt just keeps getting bigger.
Getting bigger, yeah.
Because, you know, your need to borrow money is a symptom of your expenditures greater than your income.
Yeah.
And so you take a loan out to pay off some debts, but your expenditure is still greater than your income. Therefore, isn't it inevitable you're going to get another loan and another loan and another loan? Yeah. And the largesse of buying players who you end up stuck with quite a long time who have no resale value eats into you. But also hiring and firing managers every 12 to 18 months also eats into you.
Yeah.
And, you know, we could probably do a timeline whereby over, say, if we picked, let's pick a manager, I don't know, say pick Silva.
Yeah.
Say Silva started on this date and he had a 3-year contract.
Yeah.
Somebody else, the guy who followed him in, started on this date and he had an 18-month contract or whatever, and so on and so forth. And someone somewhere out there has probably done it that at any given moment in time, we might have actually been paying the wages of 3 or 4 managers at the same time.
Well, we were, weren't we?
You know, and
we were.
And that just catches up with you. And I think you can't.
I'm sure we were paying Martinez, Koeman, Allardyce and Silva all at the same time.
That's what I mean, yeah. And you can't, and you really can't, intuitively think, well, we sold some players so we can buy some.
Yeah.
Because we know we sold Richarlison because we had to comply with regulation, but we also had debts that needed to be settled and those sorts of things. And when you say any managers who have been sacked close together, just think Benitez and Lampard. And Deitch. If you just looked at their contract terms, we must be paying for all 3 of those right now. Now, we may have paid them off, but from a financial point of view, we're doing the equivalent of playing for multiple managers at the same time. And don't forget, all those managers brought their own backroom boys, and we pay for them as well. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And then a manager sacks all the medical people, and then the next manager says, where's all the medical people? So you go and recruit, so on and so forth. And it's just it's a treadmill of...
But there must be... We're at a stage, though, where we can spend some money. You can create some money to spend, but obviously you have to play within those boundaries now, don't we? We've got to see.
But you know, if you are going to try and get yourself back on the straight and narrow, and anyone who's out there has ever, you know, suddenly had a big impact on their income, either because you lose your job or the opposite, maybe you still got the job, but you suddenly got costs that have to be paid first, like mortgages and things.
Yeah.
You know your disposable income either goes down or disappears altogether. And you have to make hard decisions, don't you, in your household? Like, well, I'm not going to go out every night, drink beer and go to the cinema and have nice meals. You know, you've all been there. Usually when you're, in quotes, courting and saving up. And
courting?
Yeah, remember, old money. But that sort of thing. Yeah. And so what the present generation do is they don't do any of that. They just party. And so they can't get on the house ladder because they don't fancy 10 years of being a boring life while they're saving up for it. Right. Yeah. So you have to have a fire break, don't you? You have to stop.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You have to stop.
But how do we? What people will say?
We've slowed down. We haven't stopped, have we?
No. But what I mean is,
Sorry, I've got cramps. So
yeah, it's okay. And Ned's asking me something, so I'm having to message him. But while, if you think about it, we can't stand still without. We're in a position where we have to strengthen. Yeah, absolutely, and we can't not do it. We can't continue to do. I actually think we're moving into being able to spend some money, not huge amounts, by the way.
From a financial fair play perspective, emphatically so. From an ability to actually fund the cash flow necessary to do the transfers, that's a different case, isn't it? Right, yeah. Because if we go out and say, simple example, can we afford to buy a £30 million player as far as financial fair play is concerned? Let's just pretend well, it probably is, but let's say the answer is yes.
Yeah. Well, from July the 1st, it probably will be,
But we haven't got the money. So we say, we'd like to pay you over 5 years, please. And the selling club says no.
Yeah.
we want at least
So some
half.
club will, won't they?
Yeah,
But-
yeah. Or we want at least half now.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you want to pay on the drip, it's not 30 million, it's 40 million, and so on. And so you get into that treadmill. And anyone who gets caught in that debt trap, you know, in days gone by, you know, maybe 20, 30, 40 years ago, it'd be credit cards and things, which is not like real money.
Yeah.
And I think for a certain period of time, at least some of the board members we have didn't think it was real money, because you could just go back to the sugar daddy and ask for some more. And then when sugar daddy says, no more, sorry.
It's gone.
It's gone. Right. Or I'm just not going to fund it no more because I don't think it's being spent properly.
Yeah.
Then you have to have a stop. You know, and people talk about Chelsea, the ridiculously large amounts of money that they've spent, and clearly they've got a challenge that's coming at them, you know, in the future, haven't they? But part of the reason they were able to do it in the short term was because they weren't allowed to spend money on players when they got their transfer ban. You know, and that was around Lampard's time there, wasn't it? So yeah. So the question is, realistically, how much can you spend? The answer, realistically, is don't know.
Okay, but I mean, we are expecting the club's going to spend money, aren't they, this summer?
Yes.
And you're right, it might be the fact that they go, well, we're definitely not spending before July the 1st, because you've got to let this year wash through. And if we let this year wash through with Anthony Gordon's money coming in and with Moise Keane, albeit it might just be on paper, and that's where the cash flow, like you're saying, and I think that might lead. See, the cash flow thing I find really interesting, just because that almost leans into a bit of that Athletic article that said money's coming in to fund the stadium and a portion of it will be to rebuild the squad. That might mean that cash fund that you're talking about, Everton,
cash flow, yeah.
I've got access to that cash flow rather than waiting for the payday loan, which is normally in August that they get, and you normally borrow from X to pay.
I mean, I don't know
the ins and outs. I'm just
you
thinking.
Me both. I don't know how
things.
credible that was, in the sense that unless, and journalists shouldn't, and they won't tell you the source. Yeah. But you know, fundamentally, it became like it's 100 million, but maybe up to 150, with the other 50 going on players or whatever. I mean, there's got to be some degree of pragmatism that you objectively you sit down as a business and say, if we go with the same squad, less the ones who've gone, will we get relegated?
Yes, is the answer
most
to that.
fans will say yes.
Absolutely.
Therefore, if we get relegated, we'll drop X millions. You know, depends how long you're down, of course.
Year one's 54 million or 60 million.
Call it 60, just for a
60
number.
million, yeah.
So if you can spend less than 60 to stay up, okay, you never get certainty, but you know what I mean, then that would be a pragmatic business decision, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That's speculate to accumulate.
Would you, in that, sorry, just let me ask you this, John, 'cause, like, again, I bow to your superior business knowledge and your business choices.
Yeah.
If there is that, say, like, it was that was the differential. Say they said, right, we're going to give you 50 million because that, if we went down, we'd actually lose 60 in year one, and if it ends 2 down there, we're in massive trouble, as in administration, because that's what's been predicted potentially. And they just put that 50 million on the table for Sean Dyche and Kevin Thelwell, whoever's making the final choices. Would that 50 million, in your opinion, be able to be spread so it became more like 80 million with down payments, with things like that? Or would you say that 50 million would be like the top
that 50 million
level?
Is 50 million.
Is 50. So therefore, you've got to be creative of how to spend that 50 million then, haven't we? Like you just said.
And again, we don't necessarily here and now want to do how it all works,
No,
amortization. But
that's what I'm saying, the amortization side of it.
If you bought a player for 30 million quid and you paid him 100 grand a week, so that's 5 million a year, and he signs a 3-year contract, then 30 plus 15 is 45, right? But clearly, only the wages come along every year, but so does the transfer fee.
Yeah.
So you'd say, well, okay, it's 10 million a year for the transfer fee, 5 million a year for the wages.
Player. Yeah.
So that's 15 million. In year one.
In year one.
But you got 30 million.
Yeah.
So can you get 2?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So that's
then it's 90 million over 3 years.
Yeah.
So as we've talked about it on the sofa, for this 1 year, it's okay in that sense. 30. Say you sold a player for 30. That resulted in a 50 million benefit, and then you spent it on 2 players at 30 million each, and whatever.
Yeah.
It's fine for the first year, but then you've got to do it the second year and the third year. And that's what we've ended up doing. We've always been, compromising.
But then
the
again,
future.
you're right. You're absolutely right. But I think that's just football and the way it has to be. So you have to almost then make that decision that of these you're buying, we're selling one of these in the next couple of years if it goes the way we want. And also, by getting these two players, we finish 5 places up the league. So that's 12 extra million. Yeah. So 12 extra million offsets almost one player's payment for next year. Yeah. Great. And we can do it that way because until Everton are bringing in vastly greater amounts of money than what we're doing right now, we're gonna be in this every year, aren't we?
Yeah. And one might suggest to some degree that's what we've been doing for 6 years. It will catch up with you eventually if you don't finish higher up the table, if you don't sell those players at great profits. And we have sold quite a number of players for really good profits. Yeah. But we've also wasted loads of money on appointing and dismissing managers.
We've got, you're again, that is a huge issue. But the other thing as well is we have been good at selling some players. It hasn't been regularly enough. We've also made too many mistakes or players have walked out the door. Yeah. We haven't let because it's just circumstances. But Yerry Mina proved in the final 4 Premier League games of the season what a good centre-back he is. Now, if he'd have been and listen, I'm using him and he's probably a bad example.
If he played 25 to 30 league games for the duration of his stay at the club, we wouldn't have been so close to relegation 2 years in a row.
And he wouldn't have gone, would he?
No, because we'd have
either sold him big money or he'd been playing.
Yeah.
The issue has been what we've got again now. We've got Jean-Philippe Gbamin about to complete. Well, he's not coming back apparently according to his agent, so we'll see how that plays out. But about to complete his 5th year at the football club, and he's played 11 games. Is it? He's been involved in, if that. Andre Gomez is out on loan. I know it's just finished, but big money.
Same sort of thing.
Going into his final year of his contract. Too many. Shank Tosa.
So those things have not played out yet.
Walcott, all of these have came in, give them big wages, and they're going out the door with nothing. Bringing us to zero. Yeah. That has to stop, doesn't it?
Totally.
If I don't mind, me, the businessman, but as a fan, I don't mind Everton paying players decent wages if they're on the pitch every single week. If
we manage, because surely it must be an objective, to move on Neil Maupay, how much do you think we get for him? Oh, sorry. What would you be happy with to get rid of him? In other words, less than that number and you'd keep him?
10 million.
10 million. How much did we pay for him?
11, rising to 15.
So presumably it hasn't gone to 15.
No.
So therefore. So
we're probably going to lose money on him.
So the wages, whatever he was on, if you just choose 100 grand just because it's an easy number, 5 million in wages he's had. We paid 11, that's 16. We move him on for 10.
Yeah.
But if we bought him for 11, we've only actually amortised a third of it. If it was a 3-year contract, right? So you can actually get into in year, you might actually make something. Because you make it 12, not 11.
Yeah,
it's only 8 left on the books.
Yeah,
and if you get more than 8, you make a profit on him. Perverse, but true.
But we could do that, couldn't we, with a few players? So that's what I'm saying. There's ways around it, and people shouldn't get too hung up on some stories that say we don't have any money. But clearly, we're not going to have a big budget. And the only way we've almost got to fight our way out of it by bringing costs down, which is what wages and stuff, free transfers might be a way. But then sometimes they're worse because the player can get bigger money.
It's all about consequences as well, right? Because the difficult consequences of the behaviours we've exhibited in the past are like the person who's got a fully loaded credit card and can't pay the bills and stuff, so they get another one, right? Yeah. And eventually mainstream lenders won't lend them money because the risk is too high. And that's when they end up with bad guys who charge them 2,000% interest per second.
Yeah.
And it just gets
Pull
worse.
That mic a bit closer to you, please.
It gets worse
and worse
like
this,
and worse.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, yeah.
And so fundamentally, at some stage, you have to stop spending.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Or increase your income.
See, I'm in it.
And the outgoing chief exec writes her own resignation statements and talks about the good things she does and talks about commercial income and so on. She needs to look at the accounts because they tell the truth. If I've got 5 sponsors and I generate £5 million a year, and I've got 10 sponsors next year, and I only generate 4 million a year. That's not a good outcome.
No, it's
You
not.
might say, look at us, we got 5 more sponsors, but it's all about the money.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
absolutely. I still think we're moving forward, John. We can move forward.
We have to, because the game's coming back to us. It has to, because, and the interesting thing is, of course, that the whole idea of financial fair play and profitability and sustainability rules to oblivion.
Yeah.
And when you get put on the naughty step is, that's the Premier League or the UEFA, whoever it is, saying you ain't got no self-control, so we're going to force you.
Yeah.
Because, of course, the Premier League, as an example, can say, your excesses are all about buying players. You can't register a player unless we agree. Therefore, we're going to stop you registering players. And so we knew we were flying close to the wind. We knew that we were going to get some form of sanction. We got a soft sanction, which was the thing people would call special measures. And certainly the Premier League presumably going to try and prove that despite that, you still broke the rules and we've got you banged to rights.
Yeah. And
the punishment will be, perversely, potentially, a fine, which seems crazy. Yeah. That the punishment of spending too much money is
a fine.
It's a fine.
Yeah.
Or something more sporting, damaging from a sporting point of view.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the guys who are driving the boat or flying the plane or whatever at the time have resigned and walked off. At least if they resigned, they didn't get any money.
Let's see what happens, Aki Van Halle says hello from Finland. Hello, mate. Stephen Frederick says, hey, Baz and John from Colorado. Should we give any credence to...
Where in Colorado?
I don't know, mate.
Is it still raining in Denver? Because we had great weather.
We'll have to just wait, won't we?
They were getting loads of rain, so...
Yeah. Delhi, obviously, there's lots of stories, isn't there, about Delhi. Sean Dyche wanting to give him a go and all that. We'll see. We'll see what happens there.
Who thought that was a good idea? I wonder.
Well, obviously, listen, that I jokingly said at the start of that transfer window that he would pull that mic up like that. You won't have to crouch down. That he'll sign for Everton. He'll sign for Everton at the end of the transfer window, just because he was getting offered around. But obviously Everton have been speaking to him, and obviously Frank thought it's worth taking a chance on someone who's creative, who might get us some goals.
Who disappeared without trace for 3 years.
And but you can argue that all. He might have come in and got 5 goals and kept Everton up. Everyone would have gone
did
great.
Quite well against Palace. Yeah.
That was it, wasn't it? So we'll see. We have got Jill on the line, so our first caller.
Jill with a G.
Hello,
Jill.
Boys. How are you doing? I hope you're not wilting too much in the tea.
It's bloody warm.
It is warm in here,
that's
Jill.
for sure.
It is warm.
I bet. So I had 2 questions really, and it's to do with the recent, obviously, announcements to do with the board changes and things, and the expected impending announcement around Ken Wright. So the first one was, what does it say about our succession planning as a club that we aren't?
Oh, Jill, hang on. We are what? We were all excited. Come on, Jill. Is she still there? Hello, Jill.
She's back again. Hello.
You went.
Yeah, sorry.
You built up and went. Go on, say it again.
Sorry. No,
it's okay.
So I was saying, so 2 questions. One is around obviously the recent announcement about the changes at board level, and then the impending announcement that we're expecting imminently about Ken Wright. So what does it say about our succession planning as a club that we aren't able to immediately announce who the people are that are going in as the interim board members? Because I would expect any reasonable business, you would have someone in the wings waiting to step up from an FD position, for example, to take over from the chief financial officer and that kind of thing. So what does that say about how Everton have been run, just generally, all the way through the ranks, further down from what we've seen at a board level? But also, given that we're expecting that Ken Wright is likely to be announced as leaving Everton, what's his legacy? You know, I know it's very easy for us to kind of talk about the negatives, but you know, there are some highlights, the obvious one being the new stadium. But if we were trying to give a balanced view in terms of what's the legacy and legacy view around his tenure during his time being involved with Everton, what would that look like?
John Blaine, you're answering this. You can answer both.
The succession one is quite easy because, I mean, you're quite right, Jill. I mean, I don't think you have people in the wings standing around waiting for somebody to leave, but you have to have a succession plan, short-term successors, maybe even interim successors, because we don't know what can happen to people. You can be ill, you can just resign out of the blue.
This hasn't just cropped up though, John, has it?
Hang on a sec, yeah. We're talking about, because Joe quite rightly is talking about best practice in businesses. Yeah. So you would say if something happened to your CFO, and maybe they're incapacitated for a while or whatever, then Baz would take over, right? If it happened, if you had a disaster scenario where you could argue the disaster is you feel the need to change the whole of your board at the same time, then maybe that's an extreme example, but you should have an answer for all scenarios, you know, particularly when you're saying within 48 hours we'll tell you who the interim board are. Yeah. Or rather, that's how the rest of us chose to interpret what was written. Yeah. And here we are, 48 and a half hours later, and there's no, as far as I'm aware anyway, there isn't even a holding statement that says, guys, we will get to you. No. It's that potentially, you know, we're too busy looking at what's in front of us, think of the bigger picture, right? So that's that thing. And I think it doesn't say very much for it, Jill, basically. Yeah. It's just not close to best practice, is it? Yeah. I understand it may be challenging and those sorts of things, but best practice is still best practice. As far as Bill Kenwright's legacy is concerned, I think it's always going to be jaundiced because, like at football, you're only as good as your last game. And his last game has lasted the last 5 or 6 years. And it's been pretty poor on an outcome basis. Yeah. Again, we don't know how difficult we probably do, but we don't know how difficult the owner is. We don't know how many restrictions are applied. We know there's very good people in that business who haven't been able to perform to the right standard, and that's whether they're not allowed to, or someone blocks them, or they're just not good enough. And time will tell, won't it? And it's only when you change it or you find out. Going back in the day, this football club, during the period when Ken Wright has been the chair, has been perceived as a very well-run football club. Obviously, but we're going back to the Moyes days, and that's a long time ago. So I think...
but, I mean, a couple of people have said Moyes is his legacy. Picking David Moyes is probably his best decision.
I think the Moyes and Sherman double act, was the good days, he may think, you know, but we didn't win anything, did we? No. But yes, selecting David Moyes, and subsequently with Moyes, because it is with, at the end of the day, banking players who all did pretty damn well for us, and some of those players moved on and got us good fees and so on. And it all unravelled, or any unravelling accelerated, when the mythical billionaire turned up and wanted to influence decisions.
Let me just jump in there for a sec, because that is all of that you've said is right. We were very stable with Ken Wright and Moyes. Albeit it was frustrating because he couldn't find that extra money, but hey, that's the way it is. But don't forget, there was an issue early on in that where we had a stadium.
Well, I was about to say the flip side,
you know, and him and Paul Gregg fell out publicly. When instead of actually just working together and coming to a thing that was best for the football club, which enabled us to get the money, which enabled us to build the stadium, which would have put us in a totally different position. Now, we had things like the Fortress Sports Fund and things like that, which, you know, Anton Zingeravich, who turned up years later at Reading and left them in a worse position than he found them in, and all of that stuff. So it wasn't without those moments as well. Yes, I'm not going to say we had good times. What we did have was we had a stable team that did very well under David Moyes. But our expectations were changed under that as well. It was managed down by both of them, Little Everton.
Oh, yeah.
David
absolutely.
Moyes' pen, I mean, I like David Moyes doing. I think he'd done a good job at Everton.
Knife to a gunfight.
Knife to a gunfight and all that. Okay, I understood what he was saying. I've got no money. And I'm putting a team out that has beaten all of the top teams at home. Okay, I think 44 games away, we didn't beat them. But in general, we were finishing. If you'd done that now, over the next 10 years, Everton have been Europe 8 times out of 11. We will be the one that people say they're overperformed. Everyone should do it like Everton are doing it. Because we were that team that didn't spend money, overperformed, didn't pay crazy wages, made players better, sold them for higher if they did leave Everton Football Club. Did a very good job that way. But within that, doing that good job, there was obviously the other bits that weren't so good.
You know my view?
Like the stadium, isn't it? Yeah.
The binary event.
Yeah.
And clearly, and I'd be interested in what you think the legacy is, Jill, but it depends whether you're neutral and you can... Yeah, or whether I don't care what you say, he was rubbish. Yeah, and there are people out there who say, I don't care what you say, he's a lovely man and everything's wonderful in the garden and he had a bad hand or whatever.
Yeah.
But for me, as A, I know him, and B, I try to be balanced.
Yeah.
I think it was a binary event, and whatever the reasons, and you never really get a totally straight answer. The King's Dock was a binary event where had the stadium got built, we'd have turned left. And down that lane is a guy called Sheikh Mansour, right?
Yeah.
And we turned right.
Yeah.
And down there it led to an identikit stadium on a Tesco car park. Not happening, blah, blah, blah. Search for the mythical billionaire, blah, blah, blah. And let's be blunt and honest amongst everyone here. When we heard about this bloke we'd never heard of called Farhad Bashiri, and that he had this other mate, and they used to own big chunks of Arsenal, and now they're coming here, and he's saying all the right things, we thought happy days were up and running.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, John. I think for me that was, the singular event that earmarked Bill's failure ultimately in terms of a chairman for Everton. I think the King's Dock was.
Every time Jill's about to say something really good,
Jill's got me on a cliffhanger and as it goes. I think she's going to say,
I'll put them on mute for a bit now.
I know what's going on.
There you are. Come on, Jill. The King's Dock was...
You've got us all hanging on.
The King's Dock was just a debacle. It was, a farce of grand proportions. And,
it was.
It was, to me, it was the example of how not to go about, just... proper business. It was just terrible, and I think for me what he's overseen is a degradation of standards at the club. And don't get me wrong, it was in the offing well before Bill Kenwright came on board, because it dates back to the 80s and all the rest of it, and we know the roots of that, but and Philip Carter and all that kind of stuff, but for me, the kind of good enough has become the norm. Acceptable has become the norm. Acceptable has become the standard. And over time, we've allowed that to become the mantra of the club. And what that's led to has been, a slip with everything. And, we've seen it with, as a lady in the top balcony, the quality of the toilets, for example. It's a little thing. They haven't fixed the fact that the toilet door, it should have a soft close. That's broken. It slams every time someone goes into the toilet. I know that sounds like a daft thing to bring up, but it's for me, it's symptomatic of just the way everything has been allowed to slip and slide. And I had the catering, as you talk about your Mars bar at half time, all that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Jill's then she's turned into Axel F or AI.
She's back again.
She's back. Are you back, Jill?
Sorry,
it's all right.
Again. Sorry.
You're all right. You're all right. Sorry. We heard me Mars bar. My Mars bars have been there the last couple of games, so it's all right.
Mars bar at half time.
It's all right.
First game of the season, hot dogs not thought out, buns not thought out. It's like they weren't expecting there was going to be a game. Like, it hasn't been scheduled since July. I mean, it's just crazy. It's just not good enough. It really isn't good enough. And this board has overseen that and allowed that. To me, like, it's a basic failure of commercial nous, of just governance. It's everything. And for me, whoever gets put in on an interim basis or on a permanent basis has to just completely turn this around. They have to, because otherwise it doesn't matter ultimately what investment we get. That money will end up being mismanaged. If we're not really careful, that money will be scandalously mismanaged.
I think you're spot on, Jill. And the crazy thing is, and we've talked about it over recent weeks, if not months, is because some of those things are so fundamental, improvement could be almost instantaneous.
Yeah.
Clearly, there's challenges there that will not be fixed overnight. But I, for one, if I hear incoming board members talk about how it's going to take a long time to fix this problem, they're the wrong people.
Agreed.
Because some of these things can be literally fixed overnight. And what you did, a very good summary was there's been for too long, too many people in the football club, and maybe at the highest of levels, who always thought somebody else was accountable.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, someone else's problem. It's someone else to pick that up. That's below me, or it's not in my area. So therefore, I'm just going to turn a blind eye rather than taking a proactive stance and doing something about it.
Yeah. Spot on.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Jill. Brilliant. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks, Jill. Thanks for your call. Take care.
Worries,
Speak soon.
Stay cool.
Bye. A couple of people thinking Jill went full max headroom.
It did, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Someone else said that Jill GDI said that Jill just entered the Matrix. No, but great call from Jill. She's right as well. All the things that Jill was saying, well, it might be sounding a little thing, but little things add up to bit, as you say, complicated things. Are a collection of small things, aren't they, or easy
joined
things? Just joined together, and it's right when you say things like, "Oh, there's none." They ran out of this in the ladies' toilets didn't have like sanitary towels at one time, or toilet paper at another. I've seen people come. It's like those little things where it's like, this is a big event. There's like a lot of people here. Match day, let's make sure that I don't get me Mars bars. I'm fuming. There's no Mars bars on the top, in the upper Bullens where I sit, or all these little things that sound silly. Telly's not working in the concourse. Well, let's make sure they are, because you've got fans there who might stand and watch. And we've said lots of times, have the game on. People spend money.
People might spend money.
It's, all of this. And this is all stuff, listen, it is what it is. But this is all stuff that when we move to this new stadium, this simply cannot happen. And hopefully new people will come in. But there'll be people who are a bit like yourself who will set these tasks of like, this is what we do better, and hopefully there'll be people who are saying, what can we do better? What's going wrong? Where's the information back? And I don't know how you quite go about that, but I've seen someone before saying, well, it was someone saying, I'm in a business and you've often test the water. And he said, well, Toffee TV got 80,000 subscribers, a lot of Evertonians. Just watch a few of these and see what people are suggesting. And straight away, you've got a bit of a cross-section of Evertonians, haven't you? You can do polls on social media. Loads of blues on there.
This channel talks to lots of Evertonians quite literally all day, every day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And every now and again, the football club puts out a really bland survey.
Yeah, no,
and yet
you're right,
the football club can continually, completely and utterly misread the sentiment of the fan base because they're disconnected.
Yeah,
I'm going to do it again. We've just been talking about, and what we really mean is we want people who are decisive around leadership decisions, and making decisions, and then effectively communicating with key stakeholders, of which the fan base is the most neglected at the moment. So it'll all keep coming back to leadership, communication.
Absolutely.
Or it might be communication and leadership.
Absolutely. We're going back to the line in a minute. Make sure you hit the like on the stream, subscribe if you haven't, please. It really helps the channel.
It does.
It helps us grow. It helps us put that back into the channel. More guests, more shows, everything else. It really makes a difference. So thank you very much if you do both. We are going to go back to the line. We have got Pat on the line from the United States of America. So here we go. Pat, how are you?
Good. How you doing, John? How you doing, Baz?
I'm good, thank you.
Very good, very warm.
Where about in the States are you, Pat?
A little bit fuming that there's still no announcement, because I keep thinking we'll do better, and we'll do a bit better, and we'll do a bit better, and they still let me down.
It's crazy, isn't it?
But anyway, tell John where you're calling from, Pat.
I'm calling from Chicago, Illinois.
Oh, Chicago Evertonians. Yeah, or one of.
Yeah, there's quite a few of us.
There is, yeah. You come en masse to this place of ours occasionally as well, which is great.
Yeah. So I'm just going over and looking on the Wikipedia for like what Ken Wright said, seeing if he had any interesting quotes when he took over from Johnson, in '99.
Oh yeah.
And so the quote that's put here on the wiki page is, if you're going to be successful, if you're going to run a successful football club, you need two qualities. You need to be realistic, and you need a plan. I'm realistic, and I have a plan. And while it's funny to hear that now, I suppose he and sort of True Blue Holdings did, because when they got turned over to Moyes, we started getting players like Rooney through, and there was the turnaround, and then we get to the Champions League, and we're fighting for Europe every year, and up until sort of maybe like 2011, we were really pretty much in those European places pretty much every year. Or 2010, about whenever it was, when we sold Lescott, basically. That sort of like stopped being the case. But do you see this as a similar transitional opportunity as to when Ken Wright bought out Johnson? And do you see any similarities? Because obviously I wasn't following at the time. I only know from reading books or hearing other fans tell me about it. What are the similarities between that time and this time? Because we're kind of in a similar situation where we're not having much money for different reasons, but and potentially getting a manager that is different than Moyes, right? Obviously, he didn't come in immediately when Bill bought us, but is there similarities between Dyche, and could this be sort of a positive development, or is this going to be more precarious than that takeover?
John, I mean,
yeah. You say John, and I'll.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think on what Pat's saying.
I think it's more precarious.
Yeah, I do.
I think back in the day, I mean, there are similarities, which is fundamentally the fan base wanted the incumbent out. Yeah, I don't think Peter Johnson, when the dust settles and objective reviews of the whole history come to pass, will be seen as bad as people might remember. I think he was, in some respects, trying to do the right things. Clearly,
the money.
He ran a hamper business, so money was a big issue, wasn't it? And what else would one expect an incumbent to say when they walk through the door? Clearly, if you look at this football club, you would say it doesn't appear to have had a plan. Well, we've got one. Oh, well done.
Great, yeah.
Prove it, right? So it's all about walking the talk, isn't it? And sometimes, and this happens in business, the people who can bring you out of the doldrums and get you up to a certain level are not the people who can take you the whole way.
No.
Right? And so there will have been a moment, and sadly I think it's in and around the King's Dock, when you have to allow new, younger, more ambitious blood, not necessarily to replace you, but at least to be able to have that challenging debate where you don't go all crazy and win-lose, which might be Paul Gregg's approach to life, and Bill's view might have been somewhat more cautious. You end up with a balanced view where you're not as cautious as one would be, and you're not as crazy aggressive as the other one might be, and you sort of you go down a middle path. I think the challenge we have now is a fan base who want the incumbent out. And by the incumbent, we probably mean as much Mashiri as just the guy who runs the show for him, without any genuine understanding about whether what comes in is going to be any better or not. And so we won't know until they're here. There may be people we don't really recognise. There may be people who have good track records in their own business lives. There may be Evertonians. But that doesn't mean they can make a difference at a football club.
Yeah.
You talked about Finch. You know, when he joined Park Foods working for Peter Johnson, he didn't think he was going to have to deal with football agents.
No.
You know, and if you are lacking in a skill set, which is fundamentally about confrontational negotiation, and you're not empowered to basically tell the other guy to go forth and multiply, then you're going to lose those battles, aren't you? So I think we will go through a period of uncertainty, right? We'll go through a period of, you know, the king is dead, long live the king sort of thing. Anyone who comes in must be better than what's just gone out, because it can't be any worse, which is why I asked Baz at lunchtime today whether we've hit rock bottom yet. And the thing is, with a squad that's performed, or has in a couple of years performed below what you would say the paper qualities would say they have, with another new manager, then what's going to happen, and he is quite new still, Deitch, yeah? What's going to happen is, at a period when you really want some stability, we're having actually the biggest change you can have, which may be minimally a complete change of your board. And for whatever people say about Bill, I think pretty much every manager's liked him. So therefore, Deitch will have some regrets. I got on with Bill Kenwright. Who do I have to get on with next? And I don't know who that is. At a period when perhaps we haven't got the time to spare to find out whether people are up to it or not. So the incumbents need to have a plan. They need to hit the street running, and they need to do that in a very visible way. And yet here we are, if interim people are coming in, that's the first thing, isn't it? We debated earlier on, what does interim mean? But the interim people have already behind the 8 ball a little bit, because promises are being made still that not delivered upon. Say something at 5 o'clock, even if it is you're not ready yet to say what you said 2 days ago, but just don't let it fester with Everton fans throughout the world hitting refresh.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know, it's crazy. What do you think anyway?
So I've gotten caught up a little bit with the Kenwright hating a little bit, and, you know, calling him, you know, a lard, and, you know, making fun of his weight and everything like that, and all this stuff I've gotten caught up in. But I think I've listened back to the previous club calls, and all three of the sort of the main hosts, you and Baz and Ped, talk about it, that Kenwright ends up being a shield for Moshiri, right?
He does,
because easily he comes off as kind of posh, aloof. He's in film, and he has this, when things aren't going well, he's an easy target, right? And I guess I do sympathize with that too, but we have heard stories, and conflicting ones, because we've never really gotten the real stories, it seems, or the full story of whether it's Kenwright putting his fingers in transfers, or it's Moshiri, or it's both. But I guess my point is, I think the Moshiri thing will handle itself after the oligarch who shall not be named kind of got pulled out from under him, which seems to be a lot of where this money was coming from. This very ill-spent money, but a lot of it was coming from. And so I guess it's easier to get rid of Kenwright and hope it changes. And also, I think maybe what you were saying, John, that new blood needs to come in to push it, and Kenwright has been always sort of very conservative. What was it? I don't remember if it was Petter or Baz that always said, Moyes said, you know, whatever you can give me in the transfer is fine, just don't take my players out from under me. Here's your $5 million a kitty, give me that, and I'll work with that little amount, but don't take my players from me. And so I think that model really doesn't work anymore as we move towards a director of football model. So I guess that's where I think Kenwright having this influence on the board and being a little too old school, maybe he needs to go no matter what, I think. And maybe I think that he's the one that would be more likely to stay. And I think Moshiri is by and large kind of going to be forced out. So I think that's the part of it that though I understand Kenwright can be an easy target, I think he has to go too because of his influence and being too old school.
I think you're right, and I think for his own well-being, he needs to go as well, because he must have a thick skin, because he's taken so much stick over the years, hasn't he? And so I don't think he's the sort to run away. But you said it many times, Baz, that he becomes a magnet for the disappointment in the fan base, and so while he's there, it's always going to be his fault.
Whether it will be his fault.
No, that's right.
Sometimes there'll be times when maybe it isn't. But
it's a mixture because individuals, companies fail, don't they?
No, listen.
Yeah.
Bill Kenwright has made massive mistake. He has.
Yeah, totally.
Even the people who defend him to the hilt will tell you he's made mistakes.
He probably would as well.
And he would say. But regardless of whether you like him, hate him, whatever, the right thing for him to do now, the right thing for the football club, which is all it's about, is for him to move on. Because the fan base need that as well. We need to see. We keep going on about transfer budgets and needing to improve the squad and do all this. This is the stuff we all should be thinking about. But in a transfer window, I'm seeing Brentford bidding £30 million for Brennan Johnson. Players going to clubs. Chelsea in negotiations with Everton over Amadou Onana. That kind of thing. Right? Clubs are trying to get their ducks in a row. And yet we're still sitting here going, we don't know whether we've got any money. We don't know whether we've got a chairman. We don't know whether we've got we haven't got a CEO. We haven't got board members. We haven't got this. We haven't got that. Bill Kenwright's chaired all of this where we are right now. And so for us to move forward as a fan base, the right thing, the easiest thing to get everyone pushing in the right direction, which is, let's remember, it's to support a football team. That's what it's about. Forget about shiny stadiums and forget about board members and billionaires and millionaires, which is winning what they all are, particularly CEO and stuff like that. It's about the football team. It's about us having a better football team than we've just had. Right now, we've got a worse squad because 3 or 4 of them have gone. Centre-back that finished the season, by the way.
Their best player.
Exactly. So that's what this football club is about, and we have to get back to that. Bill Kenwright moving on helps that. Doesn't solve it. It helps it in terms of everybody going, right, we're in the right direction. Unfortunately for us, the man who's very erratic is the owner of the football club, and we don't know what's this, like we've said. Said 48 hours. We're now in 40. We're just about to be the 49th hour. What's that all about? Like you said, why put a timescale on it then?
We were just discussing this at lunchtime, yeah.
Will follow, or you will be updated when we have got more to tell you. Whatever. Why the 48-hour thing? Right? Why the 48-hour? Bob, I know it's about winning trophies. That's the top end. That's the top end. But in English football, only 3.
The cart before the horse, though.
It's actually only 3 teams win a trophy. Well, you've got 3 trophies to win domestically in England.
One team won them this season.
Which means, and 1 team won them.
So 2, because Man United.
Man United, yeah. 2 teams. So 18 other teams were disappointed, weren't they? Because they didn't win a trophy. Okay? I get that. Listen, don't tell me about like what my standards are. My standards are 85 and 87 and winning European, the Cup Winners' Cup and winning league titles. That's how I view Everton in my eyes. Just right now, I also look at the whole thing and go, well, before we can run, let's walk, because right now we ain't even walking. We're limping, and we're limping towards everyone else is running faster than we are, and we can't do it because we're limping. So we have to start healing, and that healing is by this. 3 of the board have gone. Let's make it a clean sweep. Will it be perfect? No idea. Will the people coming in be better? No idea. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't sit here and go, it's going to be great because Kenwright and Baxendale and Sharp and Ingles have all moved on. So it's going to be perfect now because we've still got the fella who owns us, who's owned us for 7 years when it's been shite. So there's nothing tells me it's going to be any better. But it might not be any worse. So you just never know. When you get a new board in, it might be absolutely brilliant. This new board might come in and start making the right decisions. And like you said, John, they might appoint Alan Myers, who was chief engagement officer, and he gets the fans going. They might make good business decisions. They might have links to businesses who go, we'll be a partner, and there's another 5, and all of a sudden our commercial income goes up. They're all the sunny day plans, aren't they? But right now we've got to be real. Real is everything focusing back on the team to win football matches. That's all that matters. And moving forward in the right direction. Like you said, 2 things, always 2 things. Communication, leadership. We ain't seen either for months.
Including today.
And today, you know what? I'm going to shut up now because I didn't realise I was going to go on this. This is even worse than some of the stuff actually today, in a mad way. Because the club has told people there's this deadline. Self-set deadline, self-proposed deadline by themselves. and they haven't even been able to meet it. That is a joke. By any stretch, that is embarrassing. To give that deadline that no one was looking for, by the way.
That's right.
Nobody was looking at this deadline. He could have said a decision on the chairman will be made in due course. Due course could have been a week, a day, a week, a month. He didn't. He put it on. He put it straight there. And now we're into the 49th hour. And that to me is embarrassing. And indicative of where the football
about to be
club
the
is
50th hour
right now.
This sounds like when Moshiri promised us a striker. And just no, I mean that's one of the we'll get a striker if we need to.
Bill Kenwright's the Arna Danjuma of the board. Is that what you're saying? Well, Danjuma walked out the door. Don't forget. So will Bill.
Yeah. That funnily is something that, because it was a straight loan with no obligation or option to buy. He was going to be going back to Spain no matter. Anyways, that's a whole thing.
The player did say the week of the last game of the season, if I had me time again, I'd make a different decision, didn't he?
Yes, he did. I mean, I'm playing 162 minutes and after for 16 potential games in the league. Yeah, that's not enough. That's a very bad loan. Almost worse than not quite as bad as Vinagre's loan, but still.
No.
But so the last thing the reason I actually called was to talk about how we have imbalanced our squad, as I know we've talked about many times.
True.
I realized that in the last game of the season, we were playing, I think 5 or 6 players who started the season listed as midfielders. What we had, Iwobi, Decore, Ghana, Onana, and Garner. So we had 5. We were basically playing a team of midfielders, basically. Out of position in almost every position. And, wingers and that, I guess if you count, and if you count McNeil a midfield winger like he was in the 4-5-1, whatever it was. But it's so clear now that we literally have 2 wingers on the roster that are like real wingers, and Gray and McNeil, and 1, Premier League level striker. Like we right now, and the first link I hear is Scott McTominay. I'm like, we don't, even if he was the perfect one that kills me, I do not want that man. I don't care how well he gets along with Nathan Patterson. I don't care. He is slow. He's really clumsy when he tackles. Yes, he's physical, but we have other physical players. Please don't get him. But not only that, he's another midfielder. Even if he was the perfect fit, we don't need more midfielders. We were already playing like 4 of them out of position.
Spot on.
We might need one because Amadou Onana apparently is in talks with Chelsea. But I would still replace him with Baptiste Mendy from Angers for £5 million. He's 23, likely to improve, can get around the pitch, competitive. And then you bank the money somewhere else for Onana, and you get strikers and wingers in. And
so, what's the source for the Onana claim?
Belgium journalist.
Yeah.
If Everton Football Club are talking to Chelsea to move on a guy the manager doesn't like, and we think we've talked on the channel,
55 million, but I'd want 70.
Yeah, we will be cool with that, wouldn't we? We talked weeks ago about there's somebody you could sell on, as long as you've got some protections around kickers and stuff like that. Then Bill's doing it, isn't he?
God knows.
Because for 20 years he's been doing it.
Kevin might have been promoted to do it.
Yeah. So
well, we'll
that's
see.
how they missed the deadline. They're busy doing something else. Exactly. Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's why the deadline isn't, because Moshiri and Bill are doing the Onana deal as his last legacy.
Well, we're still Moshiri and somebody else, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Moshiri and Kia, yeah. We'll see. Nice one, Pat.
Good man.
All right.
Top man. And you, take care, mate. Thanks for calling in. Cheers, pal. Cheers. Kieran O'Shea on the super chat says, thank you, Kieran, by the way, for the super chat, says, I wasn't ever Kenwright out, but how can you be the steward of our once great club in its current state and not feel accountable about the state it's in? Is there a, John, let me ask you this. This is, I mean, again, I'm asking you to almost look into their minds and be some kind of psychic, but do you think, is there a sense of the board, do you think, thinking, like, this isn't our fault, why are you all having a go at us? When the reality is, this is a business that has been losing money every single year. We're at a stage where we need to bring in attacking players. We've done this 12 months ago and We've even seen it on a video we done 12 months ago. And we're in danger of repeating the same mistake again because we're not in a position, due to their stewardship, where we can actually say, you know what, we've made some money and we've got bigger budgets to give the manager to help him to make sure this doesn't happen again.
I think, well, we talked, or I did before, about accountability. Yeah, sure, go for it. Yeah, go on. And I think that there's a fundamental difference between excuses and reasons.
Yeah.
So the owner might be a difficult man to deal with. You would like to think that people who are running our football club, with all the challenges that they face all day, every day, would find a way to deal with the owner. Okay, and if the owner wasn't getting what he wanted out of that board, you would think he would go and find better people.
Yeah.
So both have to fail, don't they? And certainly over some of the propaganda that's happened over recent times, and recent times maybe the last year, are actually what you sort of couched in your question. Not quotable individuals, but the board thinking that it was more the owner's fault than theirs. What can we do? He's renegade. He does things, and just the inability to control him.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, if Denise or Grant, probably not Grant, but Denise or Bill were sat around the table with us, they'd probably be saying things like, well, you don't know how difficult it is, mate, really. Yeah. It's all well and good saying we should have controlled him, but you just can't imagine. You know, we've seen what national journalists think, right?
Yeah, of course.
And so on. But to me, that's not just in the foothills of excuses, it's well up the tower, if you will, or the hill, whatever it is. But doesn't mean it can't be reasons as well. But it sounds like an excuse because you're still here. You're still not controlling him. You are a passenger on a ship that's heading for an iceberg. And all you're doing is saying, that's actually the guy in the wheelhouse's fault. It's not ours. But you're still going to go down with the goddamn ship.
Yeah.
Really? You know? So what have you got to lose by trying to storm the, you know, and try and grab that wheel? Because the worst case is you hit the iceberg anyway. The best case is you avert a disaster. So I think particularly in the guise of people like Grant and Graham and Denise, and maybe a little bit with Bill, lack of experience, right, meant that they just weren't able to cope with what was thrown at them. Now, if they couldn't cope what was thrown at them, then it becomes incumbent on the person who has the authority through his shareholding to do something about it, And neither of them did it. It's truly difficult to comprehend how it's come to this, other than one of my cliches of projects go late one day at a time. And it's only when you look back and you think, look at all the chances we had. Again, the footballing analogy is you see the replays on the TV and you think, why didn't Garner pull him down? Why didn't Onana pull him down? Yeah. But they both just let him go. Or other games, Newcastle, why the hell did Keane jump out the way? And so on, right? And that can happen in a business sense as well. I'm sure each and every one of those board members have got, ex-board members, have got multiple examples where given the chance again, they do something different. Because if they haven't learned anything, right?
Absolutely. Bizlock21 says 881 people watching, only 191 likes. He's fuming. He's absolutely fuming. So don't do it for the channel. Do it for Bizlock. Takes a second. Just hit it like that. Bang. Job done. You're watching it. Quite clearly, you're here, listening. Come on. Doesn't cost you nothing. Just give it a little like. It takes a second.
Or message us why you don't like it.
A second. Or don't watch it. Have we... Yeah, I know. But listen, it is warm. People are waiting.
It is sticky.
Waiting for something. But, the Blues says spot on, John. If that's the case, they're admitting they're useless. If that is what's gone on. Because they haven't done anything.
Should we try and make positive predictions?
Come on.
We sell an honour and we bring in that striker that you want from some foreign land who fits the profile. Young, a ceiling above where we get him from. Pace and some history in scoring goals.
Yeah.
Imagine if they did that in the next week or so.
It'd be good.
It would be very good, wouldn't
Very
it?
good.
That's a good move into very good if you then spend the money well,
Mm.
you know, and be bold on the negotiation around Onana. So, yeah. And our US friend said we've got loads of midfield players.
No, well, listen. It's all about makeup, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
If we got rid of Onana, you need a midfielder. I think. I'd get Mendy if Onana goes or stays. £5 million is not even a challenge for me.
Exactly.
You get it. I mean, it is for me personally. I couldn't afford £5 million bleeding lira, but for Everton Football Club, you get him, you bring him in, because you're thinking £5 million, 23, and he plays in League One, can get about the pitch, likes to put a tackle in, can pass a ball. You know what? Our 34-year-old midfielder, who's one of our best players this season, might still be very good again next season. I'm sure he will, because that's just the way he is. But this fella is going to be his replacement next season. You know, like when we're coming, and then we start going, oh my God, we've got to replace him and him and him. And that is how I would do it personally. But Everton don't seem to think like that. I think
60-ish for Onana with some kickers.
Mm. For me, right, the big thing as well with Onana is people are right. You don't want to. That's not really what you want. You'd like to bring him around, but you'd like to go, right, we'll get him in and he'll stay for 2 years and we'll build the team a little bit around him and he'll develop again.
Then he goes for 90.
Then he goes for 80, 90 and we get the next 2 or 3. But just right now, it is what it is. Where, you know, and especially if you, like you've just said, is if Sean Dyche doesn't like him, Nick, he's French. He's French. Plays for Angers. They're just being relegated. I think he's got a release thing of £5 million. That's what they're quoting. If the manager isn't going to use him and thinks he's a good player, but we can get by without him, but he creates a pot of money that we can reinvest. That's a little bit different.
It's objective thinking.
Exactly. It's thinking, well, how do we get the best out of it? David Moyes did it for years, didn't he? He did kind of say, let's not, don't take my best players off me. But he done it when Lescott went. Lescott wanted to go.
Forced it.
And he was like, okay, let's get rid of him. And he brought Distan, Heitinger, Billy Ettenhoff. Okay, Billy Ettenhoff didn't quite work out, but he did score some decent goals. But he was reinvesting that money back into the team. And you have to do that. Brentford, Brighton are very good at it. Everton will be bold then and do it. But reinvest the money. Don't just sell them and then go, well, we haven't really got much money to spend, because then all you're doing, you're better off just keeping them and gambling. You can't sell them now, not really reinvest that money to get Dyche, 2 strikers, a winger, another midfielder, a left back. You can't, because you are literally then cutting.
I think they know what they need.
Let's see.
The director of football, I don't know what he's been doing if he doesn't know.
Yeah.
The circumstances being what they were, particularly the P&S and FFP type stuff, clearly limited us. And we all know, because we can read the accounts and we can see that the big numbers falling off and so on. Yeah. Then it has to be that there is room. And if you then get an injection for 100% profit on a player you bought last season or last year, then that's got to make the world a better place. And you have to have a default assumption. All of that can be invested in players.
Yeah.
It has to be the right ones.
Yeah.
And as you just said, when you alluded to the way Moyes did it, like 3 or 4 players, because you've got good picks, you get really good return on the amount of money you've got to spend, because you know where you want to spend it.
And we've got 4 loan spaces, so you can do a good bit of rejigging this summer that puts you in a better place for next season when we move into the new stadium, create bigger revenue. Hopefully you finish higher up the table, create a little bit more revenue, covers your bases. Have you got something to say?
I'll just let you finish first, but it's just, you sell a sellable asset who's one of your only sellable assets, and it's what Everton haven't done for a long time. And I don't think we can sell Onana unless they've got one lined up, like Brighton do and Leicester have done in the past when they were doing things correctly. You sell Onana and you have the sellable asset who comes in to replace him, and then your other areas which you spend the money on are also if you sell Onana for 60 million and then you spend all that 60 million on 30-year-olds, you've lost a sellable asset and replaced him, or spent the money you got with him on players who you're not going to make money on. If you replace him with a £10 million centre midfielder and spend the other money areas needs to improve. You've got your replacement for Onana, and you've got a player who 2 years you sell him for 60 million again, and then you do the same thing and recycle.
If only it was so easy. Yeah.
I mean,
well, some clubs make it
it is
a lot easier than
it is
what Everton.
It is easy.
Everton make it easy.
It is easy.
Brighton done it very. Brighton make
you're
it
not
look
gonna
very easy.
Don't forget, you're not going to get everyone right because no one gets everyone
absolutely,
right.
but
you can get the majority right, and other clubs do it.
But it's like for the past 3 years.
We could have got Onana before he went to
certainly
Lyon.
midfield.
Yeah.
We had one player who was a Decore type player. We were saying we need to get younger. We looked at Czech Decore players like that. We looked at Sangare. There was other ones. There was a Pape Sarr or whatever in the French league. We ended up getting Onana. Let's go and get another one.
Well, last year we could have got Mo Camara after we had Onana. I wanted Mo Camara. We went for Ghana.
I think he would have cost a
12 million.
Yeah.
Mo Camara was going for 22. Go to Monaco. Done well. People talking 25 million a season later. We could have got him. He wanted to come here that much. He was liking Instagram posts that were saying Everton were getting him. The kid actually liked 2 of them. And in talks with them and all that. Everton could have got him. And there's lots of them.
We had a manager who'd rather have Mope.
All right, John. You're right.
And then we sacked him.
But we do have to bring goals into this team as well. And that is
they know.
That is what the thing. Do they?
They
I
must.
hope they do. Yeah, you see, there's your caveat, innit? You say they know, and we say we know, and we sat here, and Steve Kelly reminded us that day when you said, have we hit rock bottom? We might not have done, and our faces dropped was on deadline day.
It was.
And we did sit there, and we did say, and Steve said, if we lose Calvert-Lewin, we're in huge
And he was
bother.
right, of course. Yeah.
And of course we scrape.
Yeah.
So if Everton do know, and they should know, and if they don't know, they all need chasing.
Totally
we need
agree.
goals into this side. And if it is Onana, and we sell him, and it's 60+ million, then we need to replace. We need to go and get it. To be fair, can Everton look and say to Chelsea, well, yeah, we'll do a bit of a deal, but we also will take someone on loan for this year as well. What are you doing with Conor Gallagher? I'm saying Conor Gallagher to come. You know what I mean?
As an example.
Whoever it might be, Christian Pulisic, what's happening with him? Is he loaning? Is he selling him? Have a little look. If it's nothing really that'll help us, don't take anyone just for the sake of it.
Absolutely.
But explore that. But for me, Everton could, if it is 60-odd million and Onana, will go for the money, the right money and all that, then reinvest it and do it properly and do it quickly.
Well, I rather hope, and again, we're just speculating, aren't we, that, remember what we were talking about earlier today? I think it was on the 1 o'clock thing. And we talked about, or maybe it was yesterday, they all melt into one, don't they?
Yeah.
Particularly in this place. But they know what they want to do, and they know how much money they need to do it.
Yeah.
Therefore, they're getting the money, and that's selling Onana.
Okay. Well,
and if they've had that pragmatic discussion, which is, we want this, and this, and we actually have got names against those roles, and that's going to cost this is how much we've got to spend, and that leaves a hole this size.
Yeah.
That means we need to sell somebody. Who is it? And there's, as your man over there said, very few saleable assets. Yeah. And the manager perhaps doesn't really like him anyway, or is not convinced by him, or he won't show through enough to justify turning down the money when I get all these players for that money. Yeah. Then maybe we're actually going to see that thing where we talked earlier about before the month is out and before we go off to the European camps and stuff.
Switzerland.
Up in Switzerland, Austria, whatever, that some of these players we're bringing in are already here.
I hope so, because I think that will be a big bonus, actually, having some players in the squad who actually go on pre-season training and give them.
And that's what the manager wants, isn't it? You can see the shape of his team then, and then everything else.
And we can all buy
starts
into
becoming
it,
icing, doesn't it?
Exactly. Trey says hello from Virginia, lads. Hello, Trey. Says I understand owners and investors are required to pass a fitness test, but are board members and chairmen, could that be part of the delay?
No,
I don't think they're not.
They're not. They're employees.
Sadly. Yeah, they're just employees, so no. Tom S says only Everton could set their own deadline and fail to stick to it.
Yeah, crazy.
It is crazy. It is absolutely crazy. Lou says it's yet again another example of how piss poor our communications at the club are. Bring back Alan Myers.
20-10 tonight. We'll announce Onana's gone. We've brought in this French striker, that Basgos. That was the one I said. Yeah. Would it be French, by the way? Have we got
No,
the one you
Boniface. No, Boniface playing in Belgium. Nigerian.
Okay, Nigeria. Right. Okay.
22. We'll have both of them, please.
Yeah.
We'll have him and Mendy, who's a midfielder. But there's loads, isn't it? There's Moussa Dembele, who's free, who Everton are linked with quite strongly. You know, he's 26, a good age, he's free. There's a lot. Listen, there's loads.
Prime.
People are saying Ross Barkley. Get Ross Barkley.
No.
Yeah, Ampadu, who's always been a player who you're just waiting to click properly. You do well. Hunkardi says, hi, I'm supporting Everton from Hungary.
Hello there.
Hello. You were a bit mad if you're supporting Everton, but I'm made up you are. Hope you're good. Of all the clubs you could support. He's only got himself to blame. You've only got yourself to blame. But then again, think how good it'll be when it goes right. And it is hope more than anything else, but there you go. Let us know where you're watching from for the last 10 minutes or so, me and John here. Premier members, you've got 10 minutes to get your call in. Make sure you hit the like button on this. It's gone up to 293, which is excellent. Can we get it over 300 in the next couple of minutes? That would be great. We're 23 from 79, 200. Can we get 23 people who aren't sub to just go, yeah, you know what, I'll have a little sub there. Do it. It's great. We love you. Where are we? AD Pope says we won't hear anything tonight and sod all business will get done until right at the end of the window. Our club is run piss poor.
I prefer my prediction. Yeah.
But what you'd have to say, what you would say is, if we're saying that the board are an issue and the board are gone and Everton don't announce anything and don't bring anyone in till the end of the window, then maybe the board wasn't the issue. Stands to reason, doesn't it? Because if a new board comes in and they've got different ideas and it still doesn't get done, then where is the issue? Was it just? I'm not defending the board, by the way. I'm just saying, if we're saying we need the board gone, but none of us are then kind of trying to get into this mode of things are going to improve now, then why were we kicking up such a fuss to get rid of the board if we didn't believe things were going to improve? So I'm looking at it from glass half full. I'm thinking the board will go.
Have gone most of them.
Yeah, the most have gone. This announcement will be made. Kevin Thelwell knows exactly what Kevin Thelwell knows what the football club needs. Hopefully Sean Dyche agrees and we get those players in and we all end up in a much better place come August the 12th when we kick off at home to Fulham at home. On August the 12th.
Decided
I'm just deciding. We owe Fulham big time. I'm fuming. We've lost the last 2 games against them when they hadn't won for 30. Well, they'd never won, had they, till he beat us in Cove, the Goodison in the league. So we're playing Fulham at home. Day 1. We're going to beat them 3-1. Dembele 2. Stanley Mills with the other as a late sub. Sean Dyche just going opposite to what he does and just getting kids in there. This new freshness of Dyche. He'll just have start there like Stone Cold Steve.
We'll play on Friday night. We'd be top of the league. Yeah,
play on the Friday. Rip his top off and just stand there. Oh no, I've just look at Man City away.
No, we're at home.
I don't know. We're definitely at home. I don't want Burnley. Not day 1. Not the Sean Burnley under the Dyche, the story, company. No, Fulham I want. Fulham. You shut up. I want Fulham. Right, here we go. There's a few people. Bluey says he's in Hollywood. I don't believe you, but I might be wrong. Tell me where about in Hollywood, and then I'll believe you. Burnley are back at pre-season training, which is mad. They were back last week. He wants to get everything right. The training, then they're having some time off, and then they're doing a week's training before the season starts, which is interesting. That's something else. Stay Hard is watching from South Africa. Says, what's up, lads? Is right. South Africa. It's tremendous. Country. It is a big country. Someone just mentioned James. We can't get James Rodriguez back. Come on. If he comes back on a pay-as-you-play,
and not very much,
and 10 grand basic, then then we'll have a chat. Because we'll get that thing set. He'll have his set up where he likes playing Fortnite and all of that stuff. likes gaming and Call of Duty, and he can just
doesn't have to play over Christmas.
No, get off. Likes to be on his way. Blue Peter's watching from Rojales in Spain. That's right, Blue Peter. If you live there, I hope you're having a great day. If you're on holiday there, I hope you're having a lovely holiday. There you go. Yeah. Bluey says he's just realised how happy he is. That's great. It's good to be happy. We may have 2 home games on the bounce, I believe. We'll see. We may well do. I think what I'd see in Liverpool have asked for their first home game to be the 19th, which is obviously the week after, the second game. So if that's the case, then they'll be at home on 19th, won't they? Anand Moodley's watching from Belito in South Africa. Never heard of it. I've obviously heard of South Africa. But all good. People are just naming fixtures, but they're not out till tomorrow. Yeah. And Luton can't play at home because of stadium renovate. There has to be away as well, haven't they, the first game of the season? Yeah. So we'll see.
They could play us then.
We'll see. The James does love a bit of Crosby Beach. Advertising his sunglasses, doesn't he? Loves it. Yeah, Luton. No, day one.
Don't want promoted teams, really. Certainly not a promoted team away, but at least we know we're going to be at home wherever
Andrew Mullen says, Doc leaked. We have Brentford at home first game. The Doc gets leaked ever since when I was working at Everton. There was the
trial runs.
The Doc was leaked the night before every year, and every year I'd go to the fax machine because we had to be in an hour early. You'd go to the fax machine at 8 o'clock when it come through from the Premier League, and it'd never be the thing that was there the day before ever. Which never ever, right?
Nailed on. It's going to be Brentford then.
Well, it might be, but what I'm saying is that it hadn't been so far. So there you go. Frankie's watching in Spain. Hello, Frankie. Hope you're having a good time in Spain. Vibe Lord 69 says, what's up with Liverpool wanting Branthwaite? Because he's a very good young centre-back.
He's going to be playing for us, so...
Yeah. So we'll see. Tommy Burich says, respect from Croatia. Big fan of Everton for the last 40 years. Is
good
right.
Man.
Is right. Hope you're good, mate. Papa Trev says the new board must install a proper succession plan. It's clear that one is not established. Obviously, because they haven't been able to stick to their own deadline, which is bizarre.
Bizarre, yeah.
Why do they do this?
Don't know.
Why do they do this? It's just mad, isn't it? It's mad. Someone's just said, I hope we have Man City, because Grealish will still be drunk. He's having a good time, isn't he? He is having a good time, Jack Grealish. He's just like, it's all good. It's all good. I'm just getting bladdered. It's all good. Barry Peace says, greetings from the Bahamas. Greetings. Sound like Joey from Bread there. And greetings. Pretty good fitness. Says, Baz, what's happening with the statement, Kenwright, and the incomes? No clue, mate. We all assumed that it'd be by 5 o'clock. And it hasn't been, so I don't know. The club said it'd be done in 48 hours.
We're in added time.
Yeah, we're in that time that they found for the Brentford game. For the Bournemouth game. Last game of the season. We'll see. Toffee boys watching from sunny South Wales. Why do we always delay the kit launch? Losing out on the revenue. Wasn't it an issue with... Was it an issue with the... Oh, yeah. Because of the relegation threat. And that's the problem.
So sponsor had a way out then.
Mm.
Presumably.
Yeah. So... Frankie says, I'm not in Spain. I was in New Brighton. Said it beat Spain. All it seemed was Spain. The other bit must have been higher up. Well, that's all right. New Brighton will feel like Spain today. It's roasting. Stay hard watching from Pretoria in South Africa. Cool. Love you, lads. Love you too, mate. Keep it going.
Could have a Premier night there, couldn't we? Got to do the Irish one.
That we have got to sort that out. We've got to do the one in
let's
month
do the
first.
Liverpool one
do the
first.
Liverpool one next month first.
Move on to the,
that boy says he's watching from Reno in Nevada.
Oh.
Nice. Bluey says if you've watched Succession, you know it takes time. Philip Malcolm says Gift Oban would be
Who'd have
awesome
thought Tom would get the top job?
I don't watch it. Never watched
Too
it.
late now. I've just told you the ending.
Literally spoiled it for everyone. You've literally ruined it. There's that. Cheers, Phil. I was just seeing if there was any more things.
Sure, there's time for one more person to ring up.
No, people. And some weeks you'll have loads, and other weeks
Get the final say if you ring up.
People are too hot. Yeah, you could close the show. Normally Astro, innit? But we are finished. I'm doing the final refresh, and then we're finished. Amo says, just seen a picture of the so-called opening day fixture. Says we've got Brentford at home. Well, a lot of people are saying Brentford, aren't they? So we'll see. Could well be. We will. We'll know, won't we, in the morning? Basically.
What time did they come out?
They're announced at 9, aren't
Are they?
And you'll have the leaks at 8 o'clock probably. Because people can't hold their own water, can they?
Wonder what I'm going to talk about on Radio Merseyside tomorrow morning.
Yeah, John is on Radio. Yeah, because if nothing's happened. Yeah, he's on BBC Radio Merseyside at 8:05 in the morning. Gary Smith says still waiting from Phnom Penh in Cambodia.
Wow, famous place.
59 years it is. You've never shone so brightly. He's watching from Luton. Been an Evertonian since 2015. We've had good times. 2015. Oh yeah, I suppose we looked like we had Romelu Lukaku. We looked like we were doing all right. Yeah.
His career peaked with us.
It did. It absolutely did. Bluey says, are we going to the States this summer, lads? No. They're not, are they? They're going to Switzerland.
Yeah. We might, though. If we go to the All-Stars game.
No,
All-Stars, not stars. It's an All-Star game.
All-Star game. Andy Reid says, watching from Alabama. It was great to meet you both last year in Baltimore and Minnesota. Is right, Andy. Keep up the great work. Show gets better and better. We need patience concerning the news. Yeah, you know what? Like we said, if they wouldn't have said a word, about a deadline, people would have just... I think, you know what? I think they actually made it worse putting the deadline in. Because people would have just gone, well, that's 3 of them. Like, people would have moaned about Ken Knight, but they could have said, like I said before, in due course, we'll make it.
But we know the nationals and the radio stations, national and local, been pinging us today because they're lining up for comment. So they thought something was happening as well. So
that Andy Reid then.
That was Andy, yeah.
Andy Sky. I remember I interviewed him outside it was the Black Stack.
The Black Stack, yeah, in Minnesota.
So what's your score prediction? He went, it was 4-1 or 4-0. And I went, to who? And he went,
See, he knew. Andy knew. Andy was giving it to you. He was trying to let you down gently.
Yeah.
I did say that they were dangerous. Reynoso. I did say Reynoso.
He played 15 minutes.
He'd already scored. I said he'll do all right against us.
Got some couple new. They're getting Pookie, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah. They need a striker, don't they?
Yeah. Well, Amarillo's gone.
David Alba's gone into Miami.
See here.
So they're making some moves now.
They won't be bottom for long, them.
Big Leo. Big Lionel.
Got some Argentinian bloke, haven't they?
In charge.
No coming over.
Bags of potential, John.
Miami.
Apparently a decent.
They signed him, he looks alright, yeah. They got him with the Discovery. They signed him.
Slow though, isn't he?
Discovery. He's a little bit slow now, but he'll
not
be
very tall, are they? He's going to have physical challenges in that league, isn't he?
Well, I think he'll be alright. Sally Braid says manically refreshing in Savannah.
Yeah.
It's exhausting. You'll have to just chill, Sal, because it might not happen now. I mean, I've no idea. It could be announced in 10 minutes. It could be announced at 9. It might not be announced. Who knows?
Farhad's waiting for us to go off.
He is, and then he'll do it,
Boom.
Yeah. Matthias is watching from Finland. Says, hopefully we sign Gyökeres. Cheers, mate. Vibelord says, started watching Everton as a teenager in 2010 when Landon Donovan came on loan, and I've loved the club ever since.
Good, man.
Can't believe we're in the position we're in now, but we'll be back. Toffee Boy says, so will the stadium open mid-season, the season after? I don't know about mid-season. I think what has come out is Everton have got contingency plans in place in case it isn't ready in time to open in August. But that's been, I think John said that lots of times. I think that's been a thing all the way through. They've gone, we can't guarantee because things can change.
It's a winter to go through.
But they're doing, as far as we're aware and everything that's come out of the club and Lango Rock, They're ahead of schedule by some distance. So, and the weather is unbelievable. No one stopped working in this weather. So if it carries on, it's right. I mean, you look at it now. There's a video being released today. You look at it now. You literally look like you could just throw a 4G down and you could sit and watch the game. It's built. So it's all the other stuff
fitting out
that's going on. So, yeah, but it shouldn't take it over a year to fit out. Like, not a chance. But what Everton are doing, and probably rightly so, is saying, look, we mightn't open the season in that stadium, and we're looking at all other aspects of it. Tottenham thought they were ready, and they switched the lights on and put the plumbing on, and it had all gone. They'd done it wrong, and it set them back by 3 months or something like that.
Under promise, over deliver.
Exactly. Delhi didn't just put one over the bar. In Minnesota, he put one back outside the goal. He was in the middle of the goal, and it went back where it came from. Where are we? Yeah, Toffee Boy says, it's a thing of beauty so far. Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. Andy Reid says, hello, Ned, mate. I got lucky with that score prediction. Drunken guess. Shame I won't see you guys over here this year. We can't rush things. We need to learn from past mistakes.
Well, he's from Portsmouth, so if he ever comes home, comes from Everton game, hits us up.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Pretty good fitness says, cheers, guys. Have you seen Onana 55 million? Ask, would you rather he went or stayed?
More money.
If it's 55 million, I'd rather he stayed. But if Everton can get another 10 million, which makes a big difference to us where we are, then it's about reinvest. If that's the only way we get to reinvest in the squad and give us a better chance, then needs must. Don't forget, for the last kind of like half a dozen games, he was out the team anyway. It might have even been longer than that. So we do have to. It's whatever we can reinvest. The team is bigger than one player, isn't it? Ideally, we get to a situation where we don't have to always sell that best player if he's your best player, or your saleable one. You can build around it. But right now we can we? Mathew says 500 likes and Ken Knight to leave. There you go. Andy Reid says, do you guys remember McDonald's after the game in Minnesota? Of course we do.
What's that guy's name now? We just kept driving around the drive.
He was a belter, mate. Michael.
Yeah,
Michael's amazing.
we walked up.
Yeah, because we pretended to be in a car,
Williams,
which no one's gonna.
Harry Williams went, have a Big Mac, please.
The
woman went, you have to be in a motor vehicle, and I went.
And then Michael, who was one of the security at Minnesota, came over, went and got his car, come back, got us all in a car, went through the drive-through. We got out. The next lot of Blues got in, went through the drive. He was tremendous.
We're all like scranning outside the Mackies and all these cars that turn up.
He's a belter on Instagram, Mike. I follow him on Instagram.
Baz's bottle went, didn't it?
Yeah, he was going.
Barry Williams he wasn't happy where he was. Barry Williams was a little bit.
I'm in the wrong part of town.
He was a little bit.
Get me home. Get me out.
Yeah, get me out of here. He was saying. It did look a little bit edgy at one stage when people pulled up
bouncing on cars.
People were twerking on the top of cars and everything.
Doing?
It was mad. The Menace says, watching from the Isle of Man. They need to let Davies go. He may well go. There's no thing that said he's staying. Is that he's offered the contract? He may well rather. He may well go. I would if I was him. I'd go and try and get my career going. And he says, Michael, what a legend he was. Great night. Yeah, he was. Michael was a belter.
Remember when we found Frank Lampard's press badge? We all had press badge. Remember the lanyards we wore?
I just threw it on the pitch.
Yeah, and Jazz picked it up and put it on and was going, hello mate, I'm Frank Lampard. People who didn't know who Frank Lampard was.
They were loving it.
Jazz like, wow, you're the Everton manager.
Yeah. Exactly. That was good in that bar, wasn't it? Although it's shut.
Early,
didn't it?
Yeah.
Like $40 for 3 pints of lager. And then it's shut. Absolutely mad. Absolutely.
We spent a lot more than $40 in the Hamilton.
What a place, though. I wish they were going back.
When, not if.
Somewhere else. No. But I wish it was like in a few weeks.
Yeah.
But I also wish Everton were good.
True.
I wish we had.
Take the latter over the former, wouldn't
it? Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Remember when we had the Charleston and that? Great times.
We've had good times.
Oh, God. You've got to laugh or you cry. Right. We're gonna. You know what? We'll stay on till 7:15. Ned's face has just gone white there, but we'll stay on till 7:45. I just want to see where other people are watching from. Come on.
5 minutes?
It's 5 minutes. Come on. I'm not asking you.
I'm not asking.
I'm asking people to... No, I'm asking people to tell me where they are for the last 5 minutes.
I'm here till 7 anyway.
You had a free lunch. Again?
I don't think he's said anything, has he?
I know.
Or maybe he has.
I look self-conscious
He did look like crestfallen. Quickly tell me where you are. 5 minutes. Go. Every one of you, go. Hit the like button and subscribe as well. Come on. Come on, it's roasting here.
Who's furthest away? Come on.
Bluey, you've told me you're in Hollywood. I didn't believe you the first time you told me.
West Coast, where about?
He's not, though. He's winding me up. But he might be, and I might have it massively
in
wrong.
Conway.
I feel like I'm in a sauna.
Conway's delicious. If he's in Conway, then he needs to go to the Popsy Bakery, get an ice bun and eat it for me, because I wish I was there right now. P. Lynch is from Dublin. Sound Kieran is from Rhondda Valley, sunny South Wales, lads. Is like Kieran. Phil Higgins watching from York. Simon watching from Navan in Ireland, or Navan. TJ Mids in Sheffield. Where am I? Stephen McGill in Ontario. Carl Fenton, sunny Southport. Stanley Park in Anfield, go figure. James Boris in Illinois. MT1878 is in Bangkok. AD Pope in Soham. Connor Mitchell in Crewe. Paul Hopley in Farndon. That boy Reno in Nevada. Monkey 55500 St. Helens. Kenny Foggo, Bermuda. Neil Rowland, Runcorn. Adam Prentice, Coventry. Danny Hayes watching from Houston, Texas. It's 100 degrees here. It's not quite 100 degrees here, Danny, but it is very warm.
80-ish here.
Yeah, it is very warm. Chris Lambert in Kendal. Joel Harrison is in Yorkshire. Jonathan Elam is in Lincoln. Toffee Boy, South Wales. Jay Young's in Costa del Magul. It feels like it today, Jay. Rhys Hopkins is in South Wales.
It's only 76 now.
Lewis Jones is watching from Bill's Good Time Office. Fair play. WODM, The Swan. Gareth Adams, Swansea. Matt C, Grimsby. David Lawless, Skem. The Blues is currently melting in hot as hell, Heighton. Vibe Lord 69 from Minnesota. Love hearing you guys talk about it, so fun. It was a belter. Peaceful Warriors in Carnarvon. Frankie's watching from the couch in New Brighton. Where are we?
Get out on the beach.
Paul Greenless, Sonny Bolton. Where are we? TJ Mid. Let's start a fundraiser from the poor bloke who has to live in Runcorn. There's
a guy from St. Helens, though, wasn't
there? Toffee Chaz says on the way home from Finch Farm, currently on trial. Fair play. Hope you're a striker, mate.
Fingers crossed.
Pretty good fitness, rather, says Baz. I'm in Chester. By the way, you guys do great content. Thank you very much. Matt Finnegan is in Brittany. Andy Reid says, I got Everton coming over to club I coach on Monday. Everton Soccer School's going to be boss. Ned has a good memory, remembering in from Portsmouth. There you go, Ned. Costa del Derbyshire is Rich Bond. DC Toffee from Washington, D.C. What a place. That was hot. That Sunday, when we went sightseeing, that was hot. And Ned swerved us on the Gatorade.
Yeah.
Didn't he? Swerved us, tipped the street vendor, didn't buy us a Gatorade, and it was 95% humidity.
Yeah.
And we were roasting. Toffee Boy says Costa del Chepstow. Brian Ball, Sonny Holmes, Chapel, Richard Singleton, Chorley. Graham Horton, Sonny Berscoe, Simon Creevy, Peterborough. Living Football, Chris L from Vancouver. West Derby, Michael Molyneux. DC Toffee said, enjoyed seeing you all in Baltimore. Vice versa, mate. Liam Dunn says, I'm in Limerick in Ireland. That's thousands of miles away. The Runcorn Swan Massive will be watching. Wiggle Off says Sam Edwards, which is Wigan in the sun. Chaz is a right back, can play left back, so can do the job. It's right, Chaz. Craig Moore, Sonny Scarborough. Costa del Miura, Davenue, Johnny Bravo. Andrew Mullen, Cheshire. Celtic Vape, Sonny Longford in Ireland. So Howard Kendall, Kingston in Jamaica. It's right.
Lovely place.
It is. It is. I mean, I've never been. I've just seen it, and it looks really nice. Fair play.
It's all about the people.
Was good, that, wasn't it? Oh, Nick's watching near Colomendy in North Wales. It's right in Mould. What a place. Loggerheads. What a place. I mean, I don't know whether Nick's in Loggerheads, but he's by Colomendy. Ganymede 7 is in sunny Austria in the cool Alps. It's tremendous. Absolutely tremendous. What a place. What a place. Cologne for the week is of Key VVO. Cologne for this week. Good, enjoy it. Is it warm? I imagine it will be. It's warm everywhere.
Italy.
You're in Italy?
Is that?
What's that inane grin about?
Have I missed something that says Italy? You tell me
Oh,
you
no,
don't think Cologne is in Italy.
Germany, yeah.
Germany?
So when you said
was it,
Cologne, Germany, he was trying to tell you it was Italy.
I didn't hear you say Germany. I was just trying to think, where's
Remember
Cologne
when?
now? That
It was
it.
the way you went. Italy.
I think I was thinking of Bologna.
That was amazing. I wished. Is that camera on you? Oh, the camera wasn't on you. Oh yeah,
I was thinking of Bologna,
Have you
mate.
put the pop-up up one more time.
Go ahead.
Gordon
Look
Lewis
how nice
is
this
over
is.
the water on the Wirral. Mark McDonough's in Warwick, getting the dungeon in the castle ready for Bill. The Blues says currently stalking Dembele to make sure he gets his plane over here. Rich is in Whiteley in Hampshire. Nick F. Cologne is in Italy. The Blues says Ned's malfunctioned. Ned literally turned. Ned, you know what? Literally just done it. There was a glitch in the Matrix.
Yeah.
He sat there and he went, Italy.
And full AI.
Carla says, thank God you stayed on for another 5 minutes just to hear another Ned moment. Carla, you know, we could have seen it as well.
This heat is
His
killing.
face was so smug.
It was, wasn't it?
And then he realised.
Then he realised he was on, because he see my face go, as if to go, what's in Italy?
It's why the camera's off. I'm not the same in the sun. The
camera should have been on, mate. That would have been gold. L22 W91 is in the hometown of Rick Astley. Never gonna give you up. In Newton the Willows, yeah. Where are we? SR says Paderborn in Germany. I thought us Americans were bad at geography. That boy stalking Beto to sign for Everton. Tremendous. I'm in Munich, Italy. Ned says Kevin. Gary Smith is eating a chocolate cornetto ice cream after his cooked pork dinner.
Gundogan's Italian, isn't he? Yeah.
Ned's confused Cologne with that place aftershave in Italy. It's absolutely brilliant. The same in the sun. Ned, you're inside, says Carla.
Yeah, but it's boiling.
So are we, because he all sat over there just like that.
There's no light on you.
He's got the fan. He took the fan off
he's got a personal fan
to blow in his face, and he's still complaining.
Yeah.
Ali Sinclair. Hello, Ali. How are you? I haven't spoke for a while. Hope you're good, mate. He's in Bangor, Northern Ireland. Gary Smith says Ned thought of his aftershave. Right, we are going. That's it. Make sure you hit the like button.
That was more than 5 minutes.
It was more
so many different places.
Well, exactly. There was loads. I love it when lots of people tell you where they are.
That's great, yeah.
Liam Dunstep is Ned called Dougal in school. Absolutely. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Join us on Premiere as well. We do lots of extra shows on there. Thanks for everybody watching. Listen, I'm sure there'll be some sort of announcement at some stage. Thanks everyone who's joined us. Have a great night. See you later. Bye.
See you guys. Take care.